Well, good morning, greetings, and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host, once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Lions Talk Live Morning Show Edition. You know what? I think we've got a pretty good show for you guys today. At the bottom of the hour at 7:30, we've got the Ant-Man from Lions Roar UK going to join us. Also, we've got Pete Briscoe from CBS, who's unveiled his top 100 players for the NFL this upcoming season. And you know what? There might be a Lions player, maybe even two on the show, or on the list, I should say. So we've got a lot of things going on today. We've got, of course, our normal top 5 headlines now, and we'll get into all that. But real quick, before we get the show going with all that information, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to get to 6,800. Also, if you would take just a brief moment in time while watching the channel and the shows, hit that thumbs up button. As you guys probably know, if you're not new to YouTube, it helps the show out a lot, helps get it out to more and more people that haven't discovered the channel yet, so it helps out a ton. Also, as you can see on the scroller at the bottom of the screen, if you're looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the state of Michigan, can be Detroit, can be Saginaw, can be Grand Rapids, Muskegon, the Upper Peninsula, Detour Village, Drummond Island, Iron Mountain, whatever it is, St. Joe, Michigan. I mean, you guys get it. Everywhere in Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text, whether you're looking for vacant land, commercial property, a new home, a secondary home, whatever it is, give me a call. Let me use over 30 years of work within the industry to your behest, save you some money, make the process easier. And you know what? Maybe even share a Mountain Dew. So you see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Go ahead and give me a call, shoot me a text, have a carrier pigeon come on over. Whatever it is, get a hold of me, and we'll try to discuss your situation, make it easier for you. All right. Now, if you're new to the show and you don't know how we do things here, we're going to go into 5 headlines now, and then we're going to get into the main topic, which is going to be CBS's Pete Briscoe's top 100 list. So without further ado, let's get the show going, and let's go with 5 headlines now. All right, here we go. 5 headlines now. Dan Campbell poses the question: can Detroit Lions star Aiden Hutchinson get even better? He needs to help more to do so. So, hey, MCDC himself is going and putting it out there that he is expecting more out of his stud young defensive end. I think I'm the fastest. Jameson Williams comes out and says at a camp he's hosting down in his hometown yesterday that he does believe he is the NFL's fastest player alive, and he's going to go out there and he's going to try to prove it this year. If you get an opportunity, go and look up the story. I think there's a lot of signs of growth and maturity from Jameson Williams, from the guy that came in as a rookie to where he was last year to who he is now. Hey, it happens to all of us. Just sometimes at different ages. For me, it probably happened a little older in life, but he does seem to be maturing. All right, Detroit Lions waive James Turner after signing Jake Bates. I was going to do a live about this yesterday, but I just, because I was on Micro Mike's show and the announcement he gave out, I'm sure most of you guys seen it. If not, Lions Nation Unite is going to look to add, not just have Micro Mike on all the time, but myself, Kurt Steele, just a whole bunch of us. And, I guess long story short, it's going to try to become like a Woodward Sports where all of us are going to be on there different times during the day putting out content. So Micro Mike will probably update everybody once he has further information on that. All right. Would the Lions want to trade for 49ers Brandon Ayuk? I know I put out a video yesterday posing the question. A lot of you guys had some real good thoughts on it, why we should go for him or not go for him. And I'm not here to say the Lions will go for him, but the Lions do seem to have some interest in potentially somewhere still in this offseason. Maybe it's after cuts, adding another wide receiver. Could it be they add someone like him? We shall see. The last of the top 5 topics: state of the 2024 Lions. Super Bowl window is wide open after last season's breakthrough. There were a couple different news outlets that put that out yesterday. I figured if you guys get a little bored today, maybe have a little free time, whatever it is, go and check that out. I thought they had some real good information for you guys. All right, now, before we get into the comments section, I know you're all here for one reason, and that is to find out Pete Briscoe's top 100 players in the NFL. And so I'm going to ask you guys, if you had to guess how many Detroit Lions, I should say, there are You should go ahead and go ahead and throw that in the comment section. See what you have to say. But I think we're all going to be a little impressed with just how many Detroit Lions made it. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and cue up the music, and let's go ahead and get into it. The Detroit Lions, how many people do you think made it into the NFL Top 100 list? Let's start off with the bottom of the list, the honorable mentions. So honorable mention, Brian Branch, BB himself. Think about that. As a rookie, he's nearly in the top 100 list. I think we all expected some good things out of him coming into this season. Maybe not quite as strong of a season as we got out of him, but he made an impression. And, Pete over at CBS, he's saying, hey, this kid's legit. He's real. And you know what? Probably a year from now, he's going to be somewhere in the top 100 list. Next on the list is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. You know what? He also made an honorable mention. But right there, you got two guys, rookies, that came in and surprised probably most pundits out there. Detroit Lions were, we all know it. They have one of the better scouting departments and front offices in the NFL. They consistently, year after year, keep putting out great picks on the field. You know what? These guys look to rise and shine. All right, so we got two off the way. Now, they're not in the top 100, but they're honorable mentions, so they're close. So now let's get into the meat of it, the top 100 itself. Number 89, Alim McNeill. Maybe not a lot of people would guess this, but McNeill's play last year really elevated. Yes, he did miss a little time with that knee, but that didn't stop the impression he made amongst NFL players and obviously people in the national media. Alim McNeill is entering the top 100 list, and you know what? It's a contract year. I think we all get with him next to Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader, and whoever the other end's going to be opposite Hutchinson. That defensive front for the Detroit Lions might be the best overall line it's had since 2014, the mid-90s. I'll let you guys debate that part. All right, now here's the next one, and I was a little surprised by this. Pete put at number 76, Jared Goff. Yes, that's right. Stafford did not make the list. He was an honorable mention, and that's no slight on him. Also, another former Lion, Hockenson, was number 64 on the list. So go ahead and think about that. Jared Goff, the guy left for dead. I mean, we all know the story. He's now a top 100 player in the NFL again. Now, when he was with the Rams, he did crack that top 100 list several times. So this is just simply a return of Jared Goff to the top 100 list. But it does go to show the Lions might have one of the NFL's better quarterbacks, according to Pete Briscoe. I'll let you debate what you think of Briscoe's ratings. Now, we're going to move into number 58. And 58 is Sam I Am Laporta. That's right. Hockenson was 64. The guy that we selected with the pick that we got from TJ Hockenson is actually rated higher than him, and after just his rookie season. Laporta, we all get it. He set an NFL record for receptions. Just a monster season. And we all held our breath at the end of the regular season. We thought maybe potentially he had a severe knee injury. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. It limited a little bit in the first playoff game, but he seemed to heal up pretty quick thereafter. And you know what? Going into year two, the word is Sam Laporta is going to be even better than what he was as a rookie. All right, now we don't have to go far for the next one, and that's going to be number 58. And that's going to be Frank the Tank Ragnow. That's correct. Frank the Tank Ragnow was rated as one of the top 100 players, a center. There are some people that debate whether or not he's the number one center overall in the league or the number 2 or 3. But whatever you're going to say, he is one of the better players in the league and definitely one of the better centers. Now, we're going to not have to go too far after that. We're going to go to number 47, and that's going to be Aiden Hutchinson. Just only a couple years in this league, but you look at what he's done in those couple years. Massive numbers. Maybe not home run numbers, but you know what? He's been dang good numbers. And with as little help as he's had at times with the pass rush, the fact that he keeps putting up the numbers he is, that's a testament to what he's doing. Now we all talk about Terrell Williams, the new defensive line coach, what he brings to the table, the more Blitzburg-style defense Aaron Glenn appears to be ready to unleash on the NFL. Let's be fair. Aiden Hutchinson a year from now could be further up this list. He might crack into the 30s or the 20s because the expectations are very high for this young man. In the Duke crew, we've talked a lot that a number of us are thinking he can get somewhere around 14, 15, maybe a little bit more. As far as sacks this year, Let's see if he can unleash the inner beast. All right, next on the list is number 39, and that is going to be probably no real surprises here. Amon-Ra St. Brown crosses into the list, into the top 40, number 39. He was, left for dead, kind of overlooked, as we all know, coming into the NFL out of the draft. But that has been anything but the case since he's arrived here. He has become perhaps one of the NFL's most elite wide receivers. He may not have the blazing speed, but you know what? A lot of elite Hall of Fame receivers do not have that. What he can do is get in and out of routes. He's physical. He goes after the ball to secure it. He attacks the ball while it's in the air to go get it. And he's got a heart of a lion, a heart of a champion. And say what you want about him, I don't think there's anybody who's a Lions fan that would disagree. He is the prototypical Detroit Lion of this new regime, and going to be one of the reasons why the Lions are looking to shine and get to the Super Bowl in 2024-25. All right, there is one player left. Can you guess who it is? I'm guessing most of us probably do have an idea who it is. But at number 17, according to CBS's Pete Briscoe, we've got Penei Sewell as perhaps the NFL's best tackle in the league. Let this sink in. We all get this as a quarterback and wide receiver driven league. And in the rankings, that was no different. To have a Detroit Lion in the top 20 at number 17, Penei Sewell just shows how awesome this guy is, how rare he is, generational, whatever term you want to throw out there, that's exactly what he is. And Penei Sewell, let's be honest, he's incredibly young. He's already played several years for the Detroit Lions and in the NFL. He's probably got at least another 10 or so before him. He's going to be wearing a gold jacket if he keeps this up for just even a few more years. Penei Sewell is the top rated Lion on this list. So let's Scooby-Doo this and go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Detroit Lions, according to Pete Briscoe, are now in the NFL top 100. And I think a year from now, there's a real opportunity. The Lions could have potentially an 8th, maybe a 9th. We'll see what you guys have to say about it, though. So those are the headline news. Those are the guys that made the top 100. Now let's get over to the Dew Crew and see what you guys have to say this morning. See what you guys have to say about any of the top 5 headlines, or the fact that the Lions have 7 guys in the top 100 and 9 guys in the top 100/honorable mention. All right, Moonscar is kicking us off. Good morning, Dew Crew. Bring the heat. Yes, and I got good news for you. There's going to be a whole lot of heat today. It is already hot in the office, let me tell you. And good morning to you, too. Motown Mitch, greetings, salutations, Coach and Dew Crew. Lions rule, Bears drool. 100% with that, 100%. Bird time. Morning, Dan. Hope you had a blast on your trip. Looks like it was an amazing time. We are getting close to football. Woo! Let's go. Yes, I think we are like 5 weeks away from training camp beginning. Maybe at least right around there. But you're right, Bergs. We are getting very close. And, hey, thanks for all you do for the channel, my friend. All right, Brent, good morning, Dan and Dew Crew. Lombardi or bust? Oh, yeah. And I still got to add the Macho Man. So I'm on that, Brent. Thank you, though, and good morning. Big Eddie. Greetings, salutations, everyone. This team has some strong young players. I could see us consistently getting a number of guys in the top 100. And I think you're right. I think going forward, you're going to see consistently a lot of Lions crack that list, make it in there. And you know what? If we have the season we're all talking about, hoping for, speculating, whatever you want to say, I think next year, yeah, we could potentially have 9 guys in the top 100 and maybe even a few honorable mentions. All right, Clark, what do you got? What's up this morning? Woo! Crew. Well, all right. Well, getting the show going, and thank you for being here as always. All right, Bo, good morning, Dew Crew. I see Super Bowl. Woo! There you go. A little woo for you. And you know what? Just for you, just because we've already had a few woos. Good morning. All right, Stephanie, good morning, boys. I bet the team has at least 5 players on the list. We'll listen to the show later. Got to take my little ones to school. One pride. Oh, well, enjoy the trip to school. Have a good time. Yeah, and catch us when you get back. Thank you for always being a part of the show. All right, France, good evening, gang. I've got 2 things. Some woo beer and a question. Does Goff make the list? Well, spoiler alert, and I get you put this in before the show started, but yes, Goff did make the list. What do you guys think of that? Jared Goff at whatever it was, 76, and Stafford on the outside looking in. Goff does seem like he has risen or resurrected himself in a lot of the national media's eyes. All right, just like Gay, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. We are 4 weeks away from rookies reporting training camp. It's getting real. Yeah, the countdown's down, and like you're saying, we are getting pretty dang close. 4 weeks away, and you got rookies coming on in. Training camp is in the air. All right, mile marker, good morning. Rip, yeah, Willie Mays, saw that, man, yesterday. Yeah, it's bad news, man. My father's favorite player when he was with the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, sorry about his passing. 93, though, he made it a long time, and when his life here on Earth, he made a heck of an impression. So kudos to him and everything he brought to the table for many years. All right, Brent Mays passed, one of my dad's favorite players. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he was a favorite of a lot of people, and it's unfortunately Father Time comes for us all. But great life for him. Celebrate what he's done. Bo, say hey. All right, say hey it is. And good morning, Bo. Miles Marker, kid, yes. Miles Marker laughing, Bo laughing. All right. Brett, I remember that they didn't have any of our linebackers in the top 32. Lions still not getting enough respect, but starting to get better. And that's my question next year, Brent. I think there's real possibility one of the guys could make the top 100. Will it happen? I don't know, but I think with the potential for this defense, as aggressive as it's going to be, I think you're going to see some pretty good stats come up across the board for the defensive front, the linebackers, and then the secondary. So we'll see if somebody can crack it next year. Michael D, great salutations, coach of the Duke Crew, exclamation points, Super Bowl or bust, one pride, woo, woo! And yes, good morning to you too, Michael, and thank you for being here. Bo, what's the possibility of Anzalone making the Pro Bowl? To be honest, the way he's played in the last few years, I'd say it's pretty fair. I think the thing that hurts him, though, is he just, this far into his career, he's kind of got a stigma for what he is and what he isn't. And whether it's justified or not, I'm not going to debate that. But I think, could he be like, an honorable mention or whatever, or an alternate, pretty deep on the list? I think that's possible. But Anzalone, every year he's been here, he's just slowly gotten better and better, so he could have potentially a breakout year this year. Moonscar, Lions cut James Turner. I thought all reports had him steadily outperforming Badgley. Surprisingly, they didn't keep him for now, and it's just have 3 kickers in camp for a while. Yeah, maybe they did that as just kind of, courtesy to James Turner, because the faster he gets out there, the faster he has an opportunity to re-sign with another team and somebody who potentially would have a more open roster spot for him. So I was surprised by it because, like you, I know we'd even talked about it that potentially Lions have 3 outstanding kickers in camp, but maybe they did that for Turner just for him, as a courtesy, as I said. Lions #1 fan, good morning, Duke Crew. Woo! And, good woo morning to you. Yeah, 100%. All right, Dave, guess that proves how much they like Gates. Gates, yes, 100%. Yes, I'm trying to think who Gates is at the top of my head. So sorry if I haven't had my morning Mountain Dew yet. Quentin, greetings and salutations, y'all. Man, I seen the list, won't say, but dang, we are stacked. We are. I mean, anybody watching this show right now can think of 2 or 3 other teams with more strong, solid, higher-rated players than the Lions. And I get when you do the top 25, under 25 list, Lions got a lot on that. Pete Prisco's list, all right, Lions got a lot of players. I mean, nearly 10% of the list are Detroit Lions. Let that sink in. Nearly 10% of the NFL's top 100 players are Detroit Lions. And, will that happen when they have the player-voted top 100? That'll probably come out in about another month. It'll be interesting to see what the players think. Jalen Carter, for those, I know a lot has changed in 1 year, but Jalen Carter was something like in the 80s. So let that also sink in. You got an honorable mention running back and one of the top 50 players in the league in Sam Laporta by trading out of the number 80, whatever he was, Jalen Carter. Not saying Jalen Carter isn't a good player. I think he's going to be a pretty good player. But you're able to get a 2-for-1 is where I'm going with that. Moonscar, NFL top 132 teams, average of 3 1/8 per team. I'll say 3 1/8 players per team. I'll say 6: St. Brown, Ragnow, Sewell, Hutch, Goff, Laporta at a minimum. Yes, and you know what? We superseded your expectations. Steve Rogers, captain. Let's see. Good morning, gang. The captain is reporting. Well, good to see you this morning. Dave should be 5, Sewell, Laporta, Hutch, St. Brown, and Goff. And yes, you got all those and maybe just a little bit more. So there you go. Dale Green, salutations, Dan, and our Duke crew, ! Thank you for providing us the best channel on YouTube. Go Lions, and woo! There you go, Dale, and thank you for the kind words, man. That means a lot, and thank you very much for that. So just for you, man, even though we've already done it a couple times today, hey, maybe a little 100%. All right, Dave, but knowing them 1 or 2, all right? Let's see, Brent, agreed. We are so deep that I'll be surprised if any undrafted free agents make the 53, and other teams are just waiting for our cut day. I think this will be the most sought after cuts from the Detroit Lions that we're going to be able to say any of us have seen. Maybe I'm going to miss a year or something like that, but I think there are a lot of strong NFL players that are going to be released by the Detroit Lions, and they're going to be absorbed or picked up, whatever you want to say, by a lot of other teams, especially some of the weaker teams. There'll be some significant upgrades for some other teams released by the Detroit Lions. All right, Hatman Woodsy, good morning, everyone. That list is a joke. All right, fair enough. So you don't like the list. All right, Hatman, what would you change on it? Let me ask you that, buddy. What would you change on that list? Or do you think there should have been more players or less players? That's where I'll go with it. Gary, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you, Gary. Hopefully having an outstanding morning. Dale, watching Gibbs and Bijan Robertson in year 2 will be interesting. I like our guy best. No complaints there for me. No, I think Gibbs, Robertson offers a lot of good things, and there's no disrespect to either player. They are a little different. I think what I like about Gibbs is the style of offense that we run. Man, he can do so many varied things. And one thing, I know I mentioned it yesterday on Lions Nation Unite, when I draft players or when I select players for a college or a pro team or a high school team, 2 things I know I can't coach. I can't coach height. Obviously, if anybody's ever met me, you know I can't coach height. I can't coach speed. And what does Gibbs have? He's got a ton of speed. He's got other stuff too, but he is just incredibly rare. And the fact that we've got him out there, and I also said this yesterday, that I think our third receiver is probably going to be Khalif Raymond. So think about how fast he is. Think about how fast Jameson Williams is. For a tight end, think about how fast Laporta is. And now you put a running back out there with the flexibility to be able to swing out wide, motion out wide, come up the middle, whatever, throw some swing passes to him. You got a ton of guys that maybe they're not the fastest in the NFL, but they're in that upper tier of the fastest players. All right, Anthony, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Thank you for all you do for the channel, as always, my friend. Good to see you. Hit that thumbs up. I will do that after the show. I will hit the thumbs up button because I can't do it while I'm on air, but hopefully you guys all help the channel out and help out. All right, Bo, hitting the thumbs. All right, thank you for that. Dale, we've got to have at least 7 to 8 on the league's top 100 list. And you know what? You were pretty spot on with that. Brent, how many Lions made the list? 7? Yes, 7 in the top 100. And then if you include the 2 honorable mentions, 9 in the roughly top 100. Don, he's out here trying to ban the woo, but he's out here trying to ban the woo. There you go, Don. And good morning. Bo, this year's list doesn't mean much to me. Next year will be fire. Next year, I think here's the question. Next year, how many do you think make the list? Because I don't see anybody on the list unless they just really have a fall apart season. Like, I don't see Penei Sewell leaving the list. I don't see St. Brown, Hutchinson, Ragnow, Laporta. McNeil, I think, is going to have a monster season, so he should actually go further up the list. And Jared Goff, to be fair, I think the offense is going to have even more opportunities to put up numbers because they're probably going to get the ball more often because our defense is going to be able to get some stops. So I think all these guys stay. I do believe, Gibbs probably has a better season where he cracks the top 100. And then the question becomes, could there be some other players that make the list? Could Brian Branch not be honorable mention? Could he make the top 100? I don't know. Could somebody in the secondary, unthought of years ago, but could somebody from the secondary make the list? Could a linebacker make the list? Yeah, I'll let you guys debate all that, but man, I think there's some real potential for next year's list. Rocky, good morning. All the say hey kid was one of my favorite players. Yes, may he rest in peace. Yeah. Willie Mays. Yeah, sorry to hear that, man. It just we were out at the dog park when that happened, and I heard about it or whatever. And yeah, I had to explain to Jen who he was and how generational, how rare he was. All right, Brent. No Gibbs on the list is a crime. Yeah, honorable mention, but not in the top 100. So, I think he'll be on there next year, but that's my personal thoughts. Bo, who made it the highest? That would be Penei Sewell at number 17. So, good question there. Randall, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Hatman having Trevor Lawrence above Goff is a joke. Yeah, I saw that, and is what it is. I think Goff definitely in the last 2 years has had better stats, better outcomes than what he's had, Trevor Lawrence has had. But hey, to each their own. Anthony, probably Sewell. We'll go with that 100%. Yeah, and he was. Rocky, no matter how many made the list, it will be an improvement from years past. Just want to win it all. Woo! And yes, and you're right. It's a massive improvement from where this team has been historically to where they are now. We'll go with that. And you know what? I think it's going to be even better next year. Dale, agreed 100% at Brent. Yes, I would agree with that agreement. Don Kong, hey, good to see you, man. It feels like it's been a minute. Super Bowl or bust. Woo! And yes, Donkey, thank you for always doing everything you do for the show. Phil Waven, good morning. Back at you, Phil. And oh, yeah. There you go, little macho man. Broski, Don Bird, good morning. Donnie Boy, exclamation point. What is your greatest area of concern for the Lions this season? Question mark. Wide receiver, cornerback, defensive end, linebacker. This question is for everyone else as well. Well, for me, I guess it would be, just the depth at receiver. I mean, I do believe Khalif Raymond is going to have a pretty good year, and I've already told you guys my thoughts on it. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I liked him when I would watch him at Michigan. I did not think they had the quarterback play to really use him well. And you could argue at Cleveland, for the most part, he ran in that same situation. So if he doesn't have something really cooking with the Lions this year, then there's something else going on. But this, I think he's very aware, Donovan Peoples-Jones, this is, for him, really a make-or-break opportunity for him. Because the number 3 wide receiver spot's wide open, Detroit. You get into that mix, number 3 and 4, you're going to put up some numbers, and you're going to probably push yourself towards a better paycheck in the future. So that's my thought, broski. Let's see what other people have to say. JP, good morning, dudes. Yes, and good morning to you too. Phil, I would say wide receiver. That's the we think alike there, Phil. All right, Bo, I think the biggest area of concern for me is kicker. Yeah, we closed the biggest area of concern. I'd say potentially you are correct. The only 2 things I've got with both the remaining kickers is I do think, hey, Jake Bates has the biggest leg in the NFL. And that's no disrespect for Justin Tucker or whatever in Baltimore. But let's also be fair. Bates hit some shots from that would have been good from over 70 yards. That's insane thinking you could get to just a 45-yard line, kick it, and you got 3 points. I mean, and with the new NFL kickoff rules, if you look at the UFL, most teams were starting from about the 35-yard, 37-yard line. So in order to get into Jake Bates' range, you really only got to get a first down. You get that, maybe a little bit more, you're in his range. Now, if he doesn't hit it, though, that's the downside. You're going to have some massively good field position to the other team. So I don't see that happening a ton, where they go for the the 65 or 75 or 70-yard field goals. But Badgley, he's more accurate, but that's on, Bates has a limited window of, work, but Badgley does not have Bates' legs. So at least those are my thoughts, Bo. Let me know what you're thinking. Broski, Phil, it's tough to argue that one. Yeah, 100%. Randall, offensive line for you. Okay, we'll go with that. Broski, Bo Booth, good point and makes sense. All right, I'll go with that. Phil, a little thin in depth. All right, I would concur with that. And we should have Ant-Man tuning in. I'll let you guys know once he's available. He said he would make the show this morning. We'll get him on and let you guys throw some questions at him. If not, you guys have to deal with me. All right, Don, probably tackle for me only because of the depth right now. If Decker or Sewell go down, I don't trust Dan Skipper or Scoresdale. Yeah, Manu not ready. I would agree with you. It would. I wonder what they would do if the situation arose where both the starting tackles go down. The real nice thing about Penei Sewell is that if Decker does miss a game, like over Penei's career in the NFL, he could swing him over and just keep things going. But if they were both to go down, yeah, that would be tough. That would be real tough. All right, hold on a second. Ant-Man just sent me a text. Got a link for the show. All right, hold on. He says, I didn't send him a link. I thought I did. So, un momento, por favor. Let me send him over one and get him going, and then we're all set and good to go. All right. Sending that now. Let me tell him sorry about that. All right. There we go. So he should be joining shortly. So sorry about that, guys. I thought I already sent him the link. All right, Broski, Randall Smalls, why O-line? Any spots in particular? That's a good part. Other than tackle, yep. Dale, Broski Bear, absolute wide receiver for me. Your Bears are much improved, brother. However, the North still goes through Motown. I would agree with that. Yeah, you got to beat the band to be the man. Bo, definitely don't want Decker to go down. Yeah, I think Decker knows this is an important season for his career and his longevity to remain with the Detroit Lions. I think he's got to go out there and perform at a pretty high level. So, all right, without further ado, we've got the Ant-Man jumping on. So, good morning, Anthony. How you doing today?
Hey, morning, Dan. Morning, Dew crew. Hope you are all well on this lovely Wednesday morning. How are you all?
All right, so I don't know if you had an opportunity to see the top 100 list, but if you have you have any thoughts on the fact the Lions got 7 players in the top 100 list? If you need me to review them, let me know.
I mean, it's lovely, isn't it? I feel like we've not had 7 players on that list in the last decade, and now we've got them all in one season. So, it's big kudos to what this team's doing. And these guys are all rightfully there, Sewell's one of the best tackles in the league. Amon-Ra's one of the best receivers in the league. Aleem had such a great year last year. Goff has been playing out his mind. Frank is the best center in the league. Like, these guys all deserve to be there. And, you look at this team and you figure we're probably going to have more next year if we repeat what we did this year. So good times. I love reading this list, having so many Lions on it.
So Anthony, let me ask you, if you were to add somebody to the list, if you thought there was anybody that should be on there that was left off, who would that player or players be?
Has anyone missed out? I mean, I think Monty should be on there. Like, I know as a running back, like every single season in the NFL, he's had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. It's good durability, consistent performance. And again, he was in a room with, I can understand why Gibbs is not in there. When you're in a timeshare at running back, it's difficult to get on there, right? These guys are in committee, but Monty consistently year in, year out, churns out over 1,000 yards. Very vital for this team. I would put him up there. I think that's worthy of it.
If you had to look in your crystal ball and say you're going forward to next season when this list comes out, who remains for the Detroit Lions and who is added to the top 100?
I feel like Jack Campbell's going to be on there next year. Like, this is going to be big year 2 for Jack. He's had his year to integrate into this team, and you just think how good he's going to be as a do-it-all linebacker. You feel this is the year for him where he's going to get on there. So I think Campbell's going to be on there. I think Gibbs will be on there as more than an honourable mention because I think his touches are just going to go up this year as well. They're going to get the ball in his hands. And I think, might be a hot topic here, but I think J-Mo might get on there as well because I just believe this is the year of J-Mo and he's going to go absolutely crazy. So, we could have upwards nearly a 10 on there next year, I reckon, if they carry on. So I don't really see any of the top guys going out. Frank's always going to be great. So's Amon-Ra, so's Penei. Aleem, it's his contract year. I expect him to ball out fully. So, yeah, I think we could have nearly up to 10 there.
You talked about Jameson Williams potentially making the list. What are you expecting out of him this upcoming season?
I expect him to have his breakout finally. Because he needs to be a big part of this offense. Like, in the last few years, we've had lots of options, lots of mouths to feed, etc. But we come into this year and people talk about the wide receiver core maybe not been the best. I think it's better than people give it credit for. But like, he's having a full off season, he's healthy, no injury issues, nothing getting in his way. By all accounts, the attitude's right, he's training really hard. And he's shown everything he needs to on the field to be worthy of more touches. We know he does the blocking stuff. You know, we've given him the ball in the backfield on the sweep around, stuff like that. You know, he's one of your best players. He is a game changer on his day. And you want to put the ball in the hands of your game changers. So, you know, this team just needs to incorporate him into the game more, give him a bit more of the short, intermediate stuff to get him up and going so he can hit the deep shots. But I do expect this to be a big breakout year for him. He's primed and ready to go.
You know, when we look forward a year from now, do you think there's potential for any of this year's rookie class to potentially make that list? And if so, who and why?
Oh, I mean, you figure with Brad's history, like, it could be any of them. I would figure if you're going to think of these years, guys, Terrion Arnold's got to be up there for a shout, because he's also, to be a good corner, you've got to be part of a good unit. You can't be one man on an island on your own. You've got Carlton Davis here. You've got Brian Branch. You've got a lot of experience around him. And, you know, I just figure the way his attitude, the way he approaches the game, I think he's going to have a big year. Maybe early on, it might take a little bit of time because we've got a who's who of receivers we're coming up against early. You know, Cook, Puka, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, like some of the best the league has to offer. But
right,
he just smacks of the guy who doesn't care how good they are and what the reputations are. He's going to go out there and he's going to give them hell. But more importantly, that secondary unit's going to be better so he can flourish. So I think Terrion's got a very good shot of being able to do that. I don't think Rakestrow's going to see us the field as much this year. So I think Arnold's the standout candidate here.
If you had a guess right now, I mean, just because we're talking about Terrion Arnold, we're talking about the defense a little bit, but if you had a guess who the starting secondary is going to be for the Detroit Lions week 1 against the Rams, who are you putting where, you know, cornerback 1, 2, or 3, the safeties, etc.?
So I'm very much a proponent of play your best players, like, in the positions that you should do. I don't like doing this whole moving them around different form. Like, we've got some really good players here. So I'm starting Iffy and Kirby at safety, primarily because they're the two guys. They're the ones you want to have really good years. Kirby's in his 3rd year. You want the bounce back 3rd year. Iffy's contract year. You want him to have the great year as well. We drafted Branch to be a nickel. Like, this is what he was meant to be. He's the heir apparent to CJ Gardner-Johnson. That's where he's elite. That's where he is best. That's where I want to play him as much as possible this season. I don't mind moving him around, but for me, just deploy your best weapons where they are. And then you play Arnold and Carlton Davis at corner to start off with, and then you have the depth guys behind them. But just play them where they're at the best. Those 5, for me, it's your best 5 in terms of what you got there. And I just want to see them develop into a cohesive unit. I don't want them to get too cute, trying to move them here, there, everywhere, right. Try and get it to, like, let's just get a good secondary first. We've not had a good secondary in years. I want the best guys to play in the best positions and play the best game. Let's start there.
So we all know the Lions get a bye early in the season this year. Going into that bye, what do you think would be the best possible record the Lions fans should expect? And what would be your, we've got something to worry about if we go into the bye with this record? What would you have with both of those?
Ideally, I'd like to be 4-0 going into that bye. You've got 3 games at home, and you're away on the road at the Cardinals. And, you know, Cardinals had a very good draft, but they are a team that's rebuilding. If you, in the grand scheme of things, they're the level of teams you should be beating if you harbor aspirations of going deep into the playoffs. So I would like it to be 4-0. I know the nature of the NFL is that any given Sunday you can lose. So 3-1, I'd be fine with. Preferably, I'd like to win the home games, because when you come back off that bye, I mean, people don't talk about it, but it's brutal. You've got 4 of 5 away from home. You're going to Dallas. You're going in conference to Minnesota and Green Bay. You're going to Houston, who we all talk about in our sort of run, a highly talented, very young team. That is a rough stretch of games. And if you're going into that bye like at 2-2 or worse, you could be coming out significantly behind 500 after that spurt. So I really want us to push hard before that bye, so it alleviates some of the pressure coming out of it. Obviously, I believe in our team to be able to do it, but again, momentum's a thing in the NFL. So you want to put yourself to succeed. Last year, we got ahead of the 8 ball and we stayed ahead of it. Pressure
Right.
never got to us because we were always on top, and it just gives you that bit more freedom to play.
All right, so now that Jared Goff has his new contract, we all know about his resurrection or renaissance in Detroit. He's changed things around. What do you think should be reasonable expectations for his numbers by the end of this upcoming season going into the playoffs?
I mean, he's consistently had 4,000-yard seasons for us, obviously since the first year, but that first year was one of the worst teams in the NFL period, so you can't blame him for that. So I think you're going to see similar from him. I think you're going to see sort of plus 4,000 yards through the air. Obviously, you'd like to see the turnovers come down a little. He had that little sort of jip last year where he was throwing a lot of turnovers. It's not him anymore. It's not that guy, but I'd say sort of plus 4,000 when it comes to passing yards in the regular season. And, you want to sort of over 20, 25 touchdown throws, something like that. You want to keep the interceptions into single figures, etc. But I think we're going to run the ball a lot this year as well. Though we got 2 bona fide running backs. We take the pressure off him a little bit. So, but yeah, I expect him to be around that 4,000-yard mark. And that'll be good. That's all we need him to just be, keep this offense running the way it does. It's smooth, it's calm, it's composed. He spreads the ball around to loads of different targets. So yeah, don't change anything in the regards to the way that works.
There was a lot being made about Sion Vaki coming over, being a drafted player. It sounds like the rest of the league viewed him as a potential safety. Lions were the only team that viewed him as a running back. Do you think he actually gets a little bit of a go this year, getting reps as a running back, splitting time to some degree with Gibbs and Montgomery?
Oh, it's tough because honestly, I was not enamored with this pick. Like, this is one that I'm going to have to wait and see what happens with it. You look at running back 3 and it's tough because you've got some good competition in there. Reynolds has always been good for this team. He's had his own sort of hard workman-like story to get where he has, and he's very well viewed by the team. You've got Zonovan Knight, who's played in the NFL, who's done that. He's good when he's not been hurt. So you've got a lot of competition in that room. So I don't know. I don't really expect him to see a lot of running. I expect them to make some packages for him. Like, that seems to be what they're doing with him. That he's going to be like a special package guy who you bring in. But just in terms of if you want just a regular running back 3 on the field, I wouldn't expect to see him a great deal this year. For me, he's definitely he's a develop over multiple years kind of player. Because like I say, he's two-way. He does a lot of special teams. You don't really know what you're going to do with him fully just yet. So, no, I don't expect to see him play a ton.
So the Lions are going to have I've been speculating the Lions are going to have one of the most viewed preseason games ever in the history of this franchise and maybe even the league. I think there's a lot of national media wanting to know about him. But I also think there's a lot of Lions fans who want to see Hendon Hooker. What is this guy? Some of these rookies, man, who, is he going to be developed faster than anticipated? There's just a lot of different layers going into the preseason. That being said, Jared Goff has been incredibly durable during his career. The Lions have brought in Hendon Hooker a year ago. I really view this as his rookie year. To go out there and try to see what he can do, whether he can be an eventual replacement for Goff or just be a capable backup. What expectations do you have of Hendon Hooker throughout this season, and how important is the preseason, in your opinion, to his growth or development?
I mean, for me, this preseason, not just for Hooker, but for me, it's one of the most important in a long time, because for the first time in a long time, we've been in a situation where Brad's been picking draft picks in previous drafts who were not meant for then. Like, so you look at the likes of Colby Sorsdal, look at the likes of Broderick Martin. These are long-term projects there, and all these guys coming into this preseason. The preseason is big for them all because we're going to want to start seeing the fruition of these picks as time goes along. You're going to want to see Sorsdal a bit more this year. You're going to want to see Martin a bit more this year. If we need Hooker this year, you're going to want to see Hooker this year. So it just feels like for the first time in forever, we're not just wheeling scrubs out there, guys who are fighting to make the 53. These are cornerstone pieces of our future who we need to come good for us. So there's a lot of players that I've got my eyes on in this regard. But for Hooker, obviously for him, it's just going to be integrating to the NFL style of play. I mean, I know preseason's not full 100% off and go, but it's been a long time since he's played football. And, he needs to show that he's able to pick up this offense because this is vastly different to what he's played in college. You know, it's a lot different for him now than it will have been last time he was playing. So you just need to see the consistency. Obviously, you want him to stay healthy. You know, see him take a few hits, maybe show the durability is there, and that he can be a long-term good backup for us, because that's what he always was going to be. He was always going to be a backup for us, and if he gets to be a high-quality backup, that's, you know, you need one desperately. Mm-hmm. So I just want to see consistency from him. Just see him slowly getting better bit by bit. Got some good teams he's coming up against there. The Steelers we play in preseason, good defense traditionally. So how does he do against those? Kansas, they're the creme de la creme of everybody. So like I say, yeah, there's a lot of players I'm looking forward to seeing in preseason. This is one of the more vital preseasons we've had in a long time.
So you mentioned Broderick Martin, Scoresdale, etc. Do you think either one of them really have an opportunity to have meaningful snaps this year? I mean, Scoresdale obviously would be dependent upon somebody else getting hurt, but where do you think these two guys go?
Scoresdale, I don't think you'll see as of much this year, but for me, that's why you bring Kevin Zeitler in, because Kevin Zeitler is going to be here for 1 year, right? Like at 35 years old, he's still great, but ideally you want him here for a year whilst Scoresdale and whilst Manu, for that effect, get developed as their long-term replacements. And Mahogany we've got this year. I think like after 1 year, Mahogany will be starting here as well because he's that damn good. So I don't expect to see him much this year. Hopefully we're getting some big blowout wins and that where we can bring them in, give them a few snaps here and there, etc. Broderick's got a much better chance because, you know, there's not a ton of depth at the defensive tackle position this year. You've got Reader and you've got Aleem. After that, it's a little bit murky as to what you're going to do. So you would like it where Broderick's going to be the guy who sort of comes in relief of those with either Levi or Mekhi Wingo, whoever wins that battle there. But I expect to see him more. But like, I'm excited to see him this year. He was never going to play year one, ever. And he should never have played year one because the level of competition he's stepped up against is massive. And he's got a lot to learn. But I expect to see Broderick more than Scoresdale. But I do expect this time next year for both of them to be, they'll be in this team and they'll be big parts of it going forward.
So we often talk about wanting to see growth from the players. We want to see this guy do that or mature to this or that. We often don't talk about in the media or YouTube or whatever about what we want to see from a growth standpoint with the coaches. MCDC, you know, Aaron Glenn, they've been here since this regime came in. What kind of growth do you want to see out of these two men? And throw Ben Johnson in there too.
I mean, Glenn, it's in-game adjustments, right? Like the amount of times where offenses seemingly adapt to us and what we're doing, you know, and we have these periods in the game where teams just get on top of us and we don't seem able to deal with that. That's been the defense's big problem for a long time. Now, obviously, not having a secondary doesn't help. The pass rush struggling a bit doesn't help. So you've got to have the talent in there as well. And as far as that goes this year, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on to say he doesn't. That secondary is revamped. And you've got more than enough talent to work in there. And on your defensive line, you've invested in Reader. You've got McNeil on that interior. It's dangerous. And on the edge, you just need one of Houston, Davenport, Pascal, or Kamish to break out. You've got 4 guys there. You need one of them to come really good this year. And you've got a pair of bookends as well. So, you know, Glenn should have the weapons at his disposal to be a lot more tactically astute this year and adapt. Like I say, that secondary is very versatile in what it can do. So for him, it's in-game adjustments. For Dan, I don't think Dan needs to. I don't really want to see anything different from Dan. I love his just, you know, go big or go home thing. That's who he is. That's what I love him as. Like, I love the aggression. I want him to keep that aggression. I don't want him to ever lose it. I guess it would just be having a solid kicker just to make those decisions sometimes when you're in that little, because I heard you talking about the kickers earlier, that little iffy range where you're like, do I go for it on a 4th down or do I take some safe points? If we've got a safe leg to be able to do that, you'd like to see Dan take points a few more times. But that's literally it with him. With Ben Johnson, I mean, it's the third quarter stuff, right? Like the third quarter stuff's just been really poor. So you would hope again that he can make adjustments coming out the half where, you know, the team can get off to hotter starts, because it is weird how it's just that quarter where we struggle. So there's just little in-game adjustments for most of them, really. And then you go down into the positional group guys. It's just, you're looking at secondaries coach, aren't you? Are we going to finally have guys who can come in and develop these guys in the secondary? Because we just haven't developed secondary guys. And for the D line, he doesn't need to change a lot. All he needs to do, Terrell, is teach someone how to win one-on-one on the edge, like Aiden does. Like the run defense is perfect. You've just got to adjust those edge players. So, yeah, they're just little adjustments here and there, but you don't want to change too much.
Okay. Well, man, thank you for coming on the show. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a little shout out and a plug? Tell everybody where to find you and your great work. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity, you really do need to go over and check out his channel and support it.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Dan, and appreciate to all you in the Dew crew. Love your channel here. Love what you got going. So thanks for having me on. But yeah, you can find me, the Ant-Man, at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. So if you want to come and check us out, check all things Detroit Lions from a British perspective, you can find us on Mondays. I do a show on college football as well. So if you want to come and check the college stuff out, check that. So yeah, you can find me there. But yeah, again, Dan, thanks for having me on. Hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday.
You do the same, man, and thanks for being on the show, man. Sorry about not getting the link out right away. I could have swore I sent it this morning while I was setting everything up, but my bad.
No, I'm just glad I made it this time. I apologize about the time before. So I love it, Dan. Love chatting with you. So you take it easy.
See you, man.
See you. Take care. Bye.
All right, so that was Anthony, Lions Roar UK. So do check him out if you haven't checked out his channel. Him and the guys over in the UK. Hey, they're diehard Lions fans. They really do a great job over there. So take a moment of time, go over and support and show them a little bit of love. All right, getting back to the comment section. Robert, we got ratings. All right, Broski and the Cunningham Bears young secondary has another year of inexperience. They will be elite this season. You guys do have some pretty good young players. So that's one question I was going to throw at Ant-Man was just, man, what do you really think of the NFC North? But I'll get that on him next time. So sorry about that, guys. Let's see, Anthony, tonight, Duke crew have several service calls this AM. Enjoy your day. Stay cool. Same to you, Anthony. And yeah, stay out of that heat as best you can, man. Rando Broski, without a doubt. All right. Key, the Lions will be fine. If we're at least 75% healthy, then it's a wrap. Period. All right. I'll go with that. And yeah, I concur. We're pretty dang deep this year. All right, Rando, Vaki will be more of a Swiss Army knife more than Gibbs. I think, I've been trying to Scooby-Doo and think about what I would do if I was them with him. I do think he's going to play a lot on special teams. I do think if you watched, Lions Nation Unite yesterday, what my anticipation a lot of teams are going to try to do with the new kickoff rules is I think they're going to put 3, maybe 4 guys back to receive. 4 seems a little high, but, I'll leave it to them. But probably 3. And if you guys have ever watched like high school football with, the wishbone offense and stuff like that, I think you're going to see one guy basically in the center field receive, 2 other guys come swinging up, and you're going to divide the field. Those 2 guys swinging up and crossing are going to force the guys coming downfield, the kicking team, to have to make some real quick reads and decisions because now you got 3 guys going to the opposite side of the field. This spreads the field out from a lot of the defenders. And you know what? 1 or 2 guys miss, you're going to be in a world of hurt. There's a reason why the UFL, most teams were starting from just around the 40, 35-yard line. Now you add a little bit more speed, a little bit more trickeration, a little bit more time to prepare. I think early in the season, you're going to see a lot of teams have some success with the new kickoff rules. We'll see if I'm right, but that's my anticipation with it. The only thing I really don't like about the new kickoff rule is that you have to declare if it's an onside kick. I don't like removing that aspect of chance because now I have to tell you I'm kicking the onside kick, and I think the chances of you getting an onside kick are going to be pretty slow or low, I should say. Randall Hooker watching, yes, probably. I'm the preseason games. I know I've been saying this for months, but I think he's going to get the lion's share of the snaps. Lion's share. And I think you need to give him that. You need to have every opportunity in those 3 preseason games to see if he can develop and improve consistently on a week-to-week basis. All right, Randall Hooker is still my guy. I said 2 months before the draft, he was a Brad guy. Yeah, I like a lot of things about him, but I also think you need to take some time to really do justice to him and let him grow and develop. One of the other things I know I talked on Lions Nation Unite about with Caleb Williams. I'm a USC fan. I'm a big one. I think Williams has a lot of strengths. What I can also tell you is it did not take long by his second season with the Trojans for teams to figure out, smother that first read and make him go progress to that second, third read. He struggles with that mightily. I'm suspecting that's going to be a problem for him early in his NFL career. What he was able to do at USC, though, is when you jam or take away that first read, he was usually able to scramble and get out and create a play either with his legs or allow receivers to freelance, and then he would hit them. Because a lot of the guys that they would face in the defense of the Pac-10 and such, their backside bandits just weren't athletic enough. So whether it's your weak side backer or a safety coming down into coverage to take away that rush lane for Caleb Williams, they just weren't athletic enough to keep up with him. His agility is probably something that he doesn't get enough credit for. He is incredibly agile, not just fast, straight line, but his lateral movement is incredibly strong. So he would just get away from guys and then be able to improvise a play. The NFL level, I do worry if that's going to be a thing for him. So, and I'm not trying to slam the guy. I'm a fan of his, but I do think he's going to go through some learning curves. So that's why I do hope they give Caleb Williams ultimately some time to grow. Doesn't sound like the Bears are going to do it, but I am thankful they're going to give that to Hooker. All right, Broski, Lions should definitely trade for Ayuk. And to me, it just, Broski, and I know I mentioned that in the video yesterday, what would you give up for him? If it was me, it would have to be like a 5th, 6th, or 7th. And if I'm giving you a 5th or 6th, you're giving me a 7th back. Because I doubt if they would resign him beyond the 1 year. So it's a 1 year rental. I wouldn't give up a ton then, and I'm just trying to Scooby-Doo it and think what Brad Holmes would do. That sounds like something he would do, where giving up like a high round draft pick is not going to happen. Rando, Ayuk's price would be too high. They probably want a player and picks. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to, you can have all the wishes you want as far as what your asking price is, but what somebody else is going to pay. Use Justin Fields as an example. May be vastly different. Don, laughing. Nowadays, Broski, trade for Ayuk, not worth it. It's how Brad Holmes conducts business. Ayuk will cost a first and a high second. I wonder if that will end up being the case, just because it's no disrespect for him, but if everybody knows you're not going to sign him, their asking price across the league is going to go down. I think you could probably get him for a 3rd or 4th, maybe a little bit lower, but because ultimately, if he's correct with what he's saying that he's going to do a hold in during the season, just say basically he's not physically able to play. I mean, you can't have him on that bench. You can't have him on that field in that locker room, because that's just going to be a massive distraction to everybody. Don, we will not pay 2 wide receivers $30 million per on the same squad when Aleem Hutchinson have to be paid. Yeah, and I don't think that would happen either. That's why I'm saying if you go for him and get him, it's probably just a 1 year rental. Broski Bear, Don Burr, he'll probably end up on the Ravens or Steelers. There's an idea for you. San Francisco will try and trade him to the AFC. Yeah, that would make more sense. Especially, I know I mentioned in the video yesterday, the 49ers probably consider the Lions one of their biggest threats to get to the Super Bowl. So would you really try to make them even stronger? I mean, everybody's got a price, but we'll see what shakes. All right, Don Burt, Ravens, likely Steelers have been spending more, but are still a build through the draft organization like us and the Packers. Correct, yeah. I would say you're spot on with that, Donnie. Broski Bear, Don, very true, very, very true. Let's see. It's not the way the Steelers have historically ran their organization, but they might change it up some after Jackson's antics and now Pickens being a knucklehead. Yeah, there could be some truth there. But here's my thought, Broski. Would you worry about Ayuk being a distraction as well? Well, fixing third quarter struggles be the true growth factor for our coaching staff. That's a smart point there, and thank you for that, Bo. Rando, you the Ant-Man. Yes, indeed. Bo, thank you, Anthony, man. Yeah, 100%. Anthony Fitzpatrick, appreciate you all. Yeah, good dude. Brent, thanks, Anthony. Phil, Bears' biggest weakness is the coaching staff. There could be a level of truth to that, a big level. Bo, I love hearing the way Anthony says his mind, and it's not just the accent. Fair enough. All right. Lions fan, want to say, great list. Lions are going to be unstoppable. You know what? They're going to be pretty good and powerful, I would think, for the foreseeable future in the NFL. Let's see. Broski, Phil is still proving himself as a head coach. I would agree with that. I like that he's still going to be calling the defense. Waldron is proven OC. I'm glad he's working with Caleb instead of Getsy. Yeah, I agree with that. And again, I think Caleb Williams is going to have some struggles. I also think the Bears need to try to put him in as advantageous situations throughout at least the first half of his rookie year so you don't cause any shell shock or anything with the kid, because like many a rookie quarterback before him, if you don't handle him correctly, you can destroy him. A Lions fan, Super Bowl, baby. I'll go with that. 100% agreed. Broski, Phil, I also think Dan Campbell is a weakness for the Lions. There will be some that say that. I think most Lions fans will have different opinions, but there will be some detractors for sure, man. 100%. Phil, we still something creative on kick returns, reverse screens. Yeah, you heard me say it, that I'm anticipating a lot of teams are going to try basically wishbone formations and basically try to catch you off guard. Where's the ball actually going? Try to divide the field into thirds. We'll see what they end up doing, though. Dale, Ant-Man was great. Exclamation point. Dan Sarge said he played cornerback in high school. Can you give us a scouting report on the Sarge? How is he back in the field? Flip his hips to turn success. I never actually played against him in high school. He played at Otsego, Michigan. I was at Kalamazoo Central, so we never played against each other. And I met the Sarge. Gosh, I know we were in our early 20s when that happened, but I do know there are reports coming out of Otsego that they will eventually erect a 100-foot statue in front of the football field for the Sarge and his greatness. This is correct. All right, see, Bo, MCDC is our greatest strength. I'll go with that. Brent, MCD is not a weakness. Fact, I would concur. Phil, MCDC is growing with the core. I would agree. Yeah, if you go back and watch clips of him coaching the first year and the second year, you can see growth. Now compare that to now. Yeah, there's definitely growth, maturity, and he's learned some stuff. All right, one or two more, then it's time to go. Phil, hard to believe Sarge was ever that fast and small. He looks more like a guard. Yeah, he was back in the day when I first met him. He was pretty, you could tell he would have been like a cornerback or something like that. But hey, Broski, trade Jameson and a third-round pick for what? I don't think that's going to happen, man. Jameson Williams, I think, is going to be pretty strong for this team for a long time to come. All right, guys, I got to get going, get some things done before work and all that stuff. So if there is some breaking news later today, I'll try to get it to you as fast as possible. For those who watched the video on Brandon Ayuk yesterday, I tried to make sure that in the video and the thumbnail, everybody was clear. It was a question mark or statements about stuff, because I tried to put 3 different question marks in the headline just so everybody know this is a question segment. I do understand some people did not respond well to that, so I apologize. I can't get everything right all the time. If that's your expectations, I apologize if I let you down. But anyway, I'll get out of here. Hope you all have a great day, and we will see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.